One of the moments we've all been waiting for. The NHL Draft Lottery
today?
Is here, and
Today.
we're just 20 minutes away from finding out the fate of the Arizona Coyotes. And will this be the year their luck finally changes? We will find out. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Draft Lottery Watch Along presented by Neutral. We got our Neutral here. I'm drinking the mango.
Have you opened it yet?
Oh, he's already opened it. All right.
Craig.
I got cranberry
ASMR.
grapefruit. I asked, and I was given green light to
Cheers.
open
We
mine and
knew
start
we've
drinking.
been saying there's going to be drinking on this show.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And here we are.
Sean, cheers. What do you got? What do you
I have
I went orange.
peach lemonade.
Oh my God, that is
That's really good.
fire.
That's really good.
All right. Well, I promised that I would bring my crystals, and I did. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see them on the table here. They've been sitting in the sun all day to
Bring
get
the
warmth,
energy.
get the energy.
Was that a thing?
Charging
It
your
is.
crystals.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Charge your
So,
crystals. Get them out in the
I
sun
don't
and
wanna
charge your
knock over
crystals.
your
Okay,
drink.
now hold up. No, it looks like it's clearing.
This is quartz. It's excellent for harmonizing and stabilizing the environment. So
Okay,
that's what
perfect.
we're doing.
Definitely need stability around here.
This is carnelian. It gives courage, promotes positive life choices, and dispels apathy, motivates for success.
Love it.
Success.
Positivity,
Something
courage.
we need.
LFG.
Rose quartz. It purifies and opens the heart. And we're going to promote love and
Yeah.
good things.
So all of Canada will love the Coyotes.
Exactly. Dispels negativity. Okay. Then we have sodalite, brings order and calmness to the mind.
That sounds like
This
me.
is something that we need. Yeah, perfect. It enhances self-esteem, which that's what Coyotes fans all need. And then we have citrine, attracts wealth, prosperity, and success.
Hey.
That's the one.
That's the one. And it releases negative traits. It balances emotions. And then the one you can't see, my necklace, Moonstone. And this is the most important one, a stone for new beginnings.
Did that one have to sit out in moonlight?
No, it's been sitting on my chest and my heart, though.
So that's
Craig.
good though. Okay.
And I brought my Lucky Charms.
Did you bring milk?
What's that?
Did you bring
I
milk?
brought she said bring Lucky Charms.
Where's the milk?
Brought Lucky Charms.
Okay.
And every little bit helps.
And
Oh,
before
my
I
goodness.
arrived here, I did stop off at the Coyotes draft party, which was just beginning, and I left a Shane Doan lawn gnome at the base
Did
of
you?
the
That feels
giant
good,
inflatable
Craig.
Kachina. So I did my part.
Yep, I love that. I love that.
Unfortunately, right now, I mean, there's nothing more we as a trio can do. We've done
How are
all
you
we
guys
can.
feeling?
Weirdly positive for and knowing me, yeah,
Yeah.
right. And you know, we have a couple people in the room. I think this is where you should make your appearance, Mac. Mac, you should let people know. Yeah, you should let people know what's going on here.
Yeah, we need the good vibes on
Yeah.
set. The good
Sean
vibes.
has been bringing good vibes for like a month.
Michaela is confident.
Michaela, go ahead. Tell him what you were feeling today.
Guys, I get like these like feelings. I'm like very intuitive and I have such a good feeling. Like, I don't know. I get these like good sports feelings and I feel like everything is going to work out for the Coyotes. Like
Past
I'm-
examples.
I got a really good feeling when the Broncos won the Super Bowl. I got a really good feeling before the season started and the Avs won the Stanley Cup. I got a really good feeling. Yeah, there's just so many again. And
Yep.
I have a good feeling today.
All right.
There it is.
There
I
we
love
go.
it.
It's enough
Ride
for
the
me.
wave.
Good vibes. good
Ride
vibes.
the wave.
It's going to work out.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Like if you've been a part of watching this franchise over the last 20 years, you learn to temper those exciting thoughts and just kind of go, hang on, let's just wait. So I'm just waiting.
Okay.
I'm just waiting.
That's fair. Well, we did take
Okay, anything you say that I automatically go somewhere. Need to wait. Don't get excited
Oh my
too
God.
soon.
The
Yep.
chat's already
Okay.
been there before we even went
Don't
live.
Last 4
Um,
times.
I can't do it anymore.
We did do a pulse check of Coyotes fans on a poll on our Twitter this morning, and we got 1,200 votes on this poll. So
What's
these
the pulse?
are the results. Where will the Coyotes finish in today's draft lottery? Barely winning this poll was picks 7 and 8.
Two
with
together, by the way.
30.8% of the vote.
Combined. Yep.
30.3% of the vote, number 1.
Wow.
So it was pretty, it was either 7, 8, or 1, which I feel like is a perfect representation of the outlook of Coyotes fans. Coyotes fans either feel
Yes.
hopelessly optimistic or completely jaded and have no expectations. And then the pick 6 was the next highest, followed by pick 2. So that's the pulse of the fans.
Well, I went to, before I came down today, it was a big deal trying to pick out what to wear. So I went back to the old school Coyotes mantra of scratching and clawing. And I figured that that's what this franchise has done for so many years. And I thought today would be the perfect time to pull out the scratching and clawing, because that's what needs to happen. They need to scratch and claw their way to the top of the draft lottery.
I remember when Rick Tocchet said that for the first time in a post-game news conference. And I wrote the lead of my story the next day was Rick Tocchet may have just written the tagline for the Coyotes for the season. And sure enough, they started using it like crazy. You remember the one before that, Hockey the Hard Way?
Hockey the Hard Way.
Yes.
I love that T-shirt too.
Yeah.
Hockey the Hard Way. That is the Coyote way. And all of that can change today. And all the ramifications of today and what this means for this franchise, you cannot overstate how important this could be. And if Connor Bedard, wherever he may go, is going to make an immediate impact, more so here because of the vote, the new building, all of the things that this city, franchise, state, the state of hockey here needs would be accelerated with a player like Connor Bedard.
Yes, that's what we talk about all the time. When we talk about the timeline of the rebuild, you have to stay patient. You can't jump the gun. You can't start going out and spending money on free agents or making trades that you shouldn't make prematurely. Hello, Phil Kessel and Taylor Hall. But if you actually get lucky in the lottery, like as we've talked about, pretty much all the Cup champions have done, then it can accelerate the rebuild. You can speed things up maybe by a year when you inject a player like that into your lineup. I don't think he's the only one in this draft. I don't. Connor Bedard is a special player. There's arguments over just how impactful he will be. I don't know that he's quite Connor McDavid, but he's going to be an impactful player. But there are other guys in this draft. We'll get to all this probably later on, but I'm fascinated by how it's going to play out after Connor Bedard.
Absolutely. There's a lot to look out for, but I think right now we're all focused on the next third hour of our lives, essentially. We're just about 14 minutes away from the lottery starting. So we figured, let's have some fun and let's literally put the tinfoil hats on and theorize about what's going to happen here. And yes, we actually have tinfoil hats.
This is very M. Night Shyamalan. This is very M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, it is.
Signs, isn't
it
it?
fits surprisingly well.
Yeah.
We got these
Well,
today.
by the way,
went to
Leah-
Fashion Square, picked them up.
No, let's
Bougie.
give credit where credit is due. Leah watched a YouTube video, I believe, to learn how to make these.
There are a lot of YouTube videos out there.
Put these together in like 10
Craig,
minutes, by the way.
Craig, if you saw what it takes to make a tinfoil hat, you'd go, we got to watch a video for that.
Buddy,
You wrap it
I
on
am
your head, you
admiring the
squinch
art,
it.
okay? I'm
Remember
admiring
when
the
you
art.
were positive on Friday?
Yeah,
Where
but-
is that?
Where's
Can I
that?
just say that I look like the Tin Man from The Wiz right now?
That is solid.
Oh my God.
So
Can you come
before
on
we get
camera
into
for a
this,
minute,
though,
please?
Leah,
Oh, you are. There you are.
Leah, do you have the odds
Yes.
of one?
Oh, my God.
Just give the odds of the teams that could pick Connor Bedard.
We do. We do have the odds. We have the Tankathon odds. Shout out Tankathon, really carrying us through. Anaheim has the best odds to pick number one,
Boo.
25.5%. Columbus, 13.5 to pick one. Chicago, 11.5 to pick
Double
one.
boo.
San Jose, 9.5. Montreal, 8.5.
Double boo.
Arizona, 7.5. We don't need to read the rest, but there are 5 other teams who can pick number one.
Yep.
So
With worse odds than 7.5 Arizona Coyotes.
Yes.
Okay, let's start the conspiracy theories.
Okay. I think we should start with Sean because I'm already guessing where this is going.
Okay. So, as we all know, Alexander Ovechkin is a agent of the state of Russia and Vladimir Putin. So, what's going to happen is the Capitals are going to win the lottery. They're going to get first overall, and Putin is essentially going to force them through Ovechkin to draft Matvei Michkov first overall. The Coyotes will move up to second, get Connor Bedard, and naturally, because I am me, the Buffalo Sabres will move up to third and get Adam Fantilli.
Fantilli at third.
And then in about 6 to 7 years, he'll get hurt, have a disagreement with the team, and request a trade. And then he'll become a Arizona Coyote as well. So then we all win.
all right. I love it. I love it. Who wants to go next?
Go ahead.
Me? All right. Well, listen, there's a big vote coming up next week. We all know May 8th is just one of 2 important days in the month of May, and this is something the NHL is pretty much solely responsible for keeping the Arizona Coyotes in Arizona for all of these years. And there's just this one final hurdle to get them through next Tuesday. We are just 8 days away from that vote, and what better to secure and cement the future than landing a franchise-altering player like Connor Bedard. The Arizona Coyotes are going to win this draft lottery because Gary Bettman will will it to be so. I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm just saying he will will it to be so. This would be the perfect prelude to the vote going through. It's time for the tides to change for Arizona. This is our year.
And then they erect a statue of Gary Bettman shaking Shane Doan's hand out front of the TED.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. That's good positive vibes right there. But you know where I'm going. You know where I'm from. I'm from the city of Chicago, and I remember a very dark period in Blackhawk history. Most of the time when my dad was a season ticket holder and I was watching the Blackhawks not accomplish anything. And then they were in the draft lottery, and there was a guy named Patrick Kane, and the Blackhawks had the 5th worst record, and the rules at the time were you could only jump up 4 spots. So what happened? Of course, the Blackhawks, who had been mired in mediocrity or worse for a very long time, they won the lottery and jumped up and got Patrick Kane. We know who the Coyotes got. Kyle Turris, one of those names we don't mention around here. So, what's happening this year with the Blackhawks? Well, Patrick Kane's already moved on. They traded him to the New York Rangers at the deadline. Jonathan Taves is gone after this season as well. The Cup era is over. It's time to rebuild again. So, naturally, your beloved Chicago Blackhawks are going to leap up to number 1 again and get Connor Bedard and start building the next, multi-cup winner.
When you look at the draft lottery, when you've had the megastar, franchise-changing player, you need not go further back than Austin Matthews going to Toronto or Connor McDavid going to Edmonton. And this year, Connor Bedard will be no different. He will not make it south of the border. He will stay in Canada, which means 2 options. Back-to-back Montreal Canadiens first-round draft pick to keep them all in Canada, or my conspiracy theory, the North Vancouver native stays in Vancouver, becomes a Canuck, and it is now Bedard, McDavid, and Matthews running the NHL north of the border. And that is my conspiracy theory.
Wow.
I actually would be okay with that. And this is going to sound crazy.
Yeah, it does.
To wish anything kind on Canucks fans because they're lunatics is the craziest fan base in the NHL. But Vancouver has had horrific luck in the draft lottery. If you look at history, okay, because I'm fine with that too.
Because let's talk about Vancouver, Craig. When somebody broke the rules a few years ago, i.e. the Arizona Coyotes, what happened to them in their punishment?
Let's take away multiple draft picks.
Vancouver breaks rules. What happened to them?
$50,000 fine.
Slap on the hand, $50,000 fine. Because why? Because they're going to pick first overall.
If they stole their pick, then they couldn't pick.
Then they can't pick first overall if they don't. There we go.
I don't like this one.
Adds to the theory.
I don't like it. I like mine. I should have gone last to keep
you should have gone last.
The vibes high.
You should have gone last.
The Coyotes are winning.
I got a question about the proper etiquette with these tinfoil hats. Do you show off forehead or do you wear it low to the brow?
I mean, when you have hair like me, it just kind of rests on top, so I can't really. Yes.
All right. All right, I'm taking this off. Time to come back down.
Back down to reality.
Back down to reality, and I want to make sure we read a couple of super chats before they get lost. Vaguely sober, $1.99. NHL, show us your balls. Okay, vaguely sober. Sure. All right.
Not gonna happen, really.
Charles Winelpark, $7.50. Be good
that?
to us, oh mighty mystical ping pong balls. Thank you, Charles. We do need it, and we have.
To clarify, he said he gave $7.50 for the 7.5% chance.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Charles is always original with that. And then we have a 2023 super chat from John, which I'm assuming is for the year 2023. No mess. Oh wait, this is my best way of willing it to happen, says John. So
thanks, John.
Thank you all for your super chats. This is the ultimate pack therapy. Right now, we have our second screen up. We can see Connor Bedard shooting pucks. Oh, he's taunting us.
Oh, no, if you want, and we do recommend you flip over to ESPN on a second screen too, so you can. They are showing Connor Bedard highlights right now, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. It is absolutely ridiculous how good a hockey player this kid is, and he does. So, does he play right away next year, Craig?
Yes.
without a doubt. I agree. He's a player in the league next year.
And like when you start looking at the players that might too, who else is? Who else is going to play in the NHL? Right? I don't know. He might go back to Michigan.
Well, but Matvei Michkov's not.
He's definitely not coming. So when you talk about the top players,
Will Smith probably not.
Probably not. And crazy how Will Smith has climbed in this draft.
Lil
by the way.
Carlson probably not.
Yeah.
So
there you have
it's
it.
Bedard, and there he is. God, does he
right.
look like a kid?
Yeah.
We should keep.
Ooh,
Let's keep the vibes high.
Bye.
We're about
Good,
6
happy
minutes away from the ping pong balls flowing. So let's have a Wheel of Fantasy moment.
Okay.
We're not gonna actually spin
Is this
it, but-
him? Like really?
Yes.
It is.
God damn. Wheel of Fantasy. What is the best case scenario?
You want me to lay the
Today.
whole thing out?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clearly, you wrote something.
Here's the best case scenario. No, I just got it in my head because I've been
Okay.
thinking about it
I'm
for
ready.
months. Literally months. It's going to be huge. Huge. Okay. So they move up to number 1. They get Connor Bedard. Concerns about Matvei Michkov's ability to make it to the U.S. while playing for an extremely pro-Putin club lead a lot of GMs to pass on him.
Yes.
And suddenly, at the number 12 pick, the Coyotes are faced with a quandary. Do you take one of the 3 best players in the draft, or do you take a guy that you think you're going to put in the minors for a couple of years? Well, Matvei Michkov is going to be here in a few years anyway. And as Corey Proman told us when he was on the show the other day, Russians all eventually make it over here. So the Coyotes draft Matvei Michkov as well, and they get 2 of the 3 best players, maybe the 2 best players in this draft. That's your best case scenario. But I'm not stopping there because the Coyotes have a lot of assets, as we know. They have a lot of assets. So they end up trading back into the first round, and they get a defenseman as well.
Ooh.
One of the top defensemen in this draft. So this is a watershed draft. We will look back on the 2023 draft and say that was when the Coyotes turned the corner.
Is this the new Pittsburgh Penguins then? Is this Malkin Crosby?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my God! Don't even put that in my head.
Well, that's it. You got the Russian
relocation
players.
rumors,
Yep.
needing a new arena. I mean,
arena.
what happened the last time this happened? It happened in Pittsburgh. Literally wrote this story when I went to Pittsburgh for the season opener.
You know where
Bookends.
Pittsburgh was before Crosby Malkin? Last.
Yep.
Last. Perennially last.
And supposedly moving.
Bad hockey team. Moving. Leaving. Bad team. They're not so bad now.
No.
Their cup window's been open for 15 years. You just need to draft well.
Yep. I want to point that out. I say this over and over again. There's so much credit that has been given to teams because they got lucky in the lottery. You got a franchise player.
Yep.
You didn't do anything.
Yep.
You didn't do anything. You just got that pick. That's what turned your franchise around.
I will say this, though, Craig. The difference between that and Chicago, where you get a couple picks, Pittsburgh gets a couple of picks. The difference is the Edmonton Oilers got 4 of those picks, and they still sucked.
Nail Yakupov.
And they still get last.
Yeah.
Well, not last. Let's not put it that way. But they sure as hell don't win any cups with all those guys.
You should not have 4 first overall picks
and not
have
dominate.
any playoff success
and
so
not
far, right?
dominate.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So you do need to be able to fill in, and that's where I trust in GMBA, and I keep saying it. What he did, if you redrafted in one draft, Cooley's number 1.
Yep.
If you redrafted that draft. So I'm just going to put my faith in GM Bill Armstrong and go, gosh, I think he's going to draft really well. But then on top of that, let's throw in Connor Bedard and give him a head start because I think he can develop and surround the cast around him. Look, we had Armstrong in here, and he said if they don't get Connor Bedard, it's going to be okay. So I don't want everybody to put their eggs in the Connor Bedard basket. Things are going to be fine. They have 2 picks in the top 12. Top 13, they got 2 high draft picks in a very good, very deep draft. They're going to get good players. Changes the franchise or good players are very different meanings.
Yes. And eventually, you need a couple of those guys, right? If you're going to win cups, you need a couple of those guys.
Yeah, especially in the lottery era. You look at every team that's won a Stanley Cup in the last 10 years, maybe aside from the St. Louis Blues, every team has had a 1 or 2 overall pick. So if you're going to do it in any year, and last year when the Coyotes dropped to 3, we said, you know what? It's okay that they dropped to 3 this year because all that matters if they pick 1 or 2 next year. And here we are. It's next year.
But so before you say that, Leah,
yeah,
they went through 82 games to get 6th to last. We sat here saying how imperative it was that this team gets last so they do no worse than a bottom 3 pick, which is what we were looking at over a year ago. They finished with the 3rd pick. How important was games 1 through 82 right now, today, on this very date, as we sit here waiting for the balls to drop? They don't mean shit. They really don't. And that's where the frustrating point of, oh, they got that overtime win. Oh, they made it to overtime. You're paying for it today.
Yep. Yeah. And again, we've said this over and over again. Players and coaches do not tank. And I get it. I understand it's in their DNA to try and win. And they were all proud of themselves when they did it. But does it matter today?
No, but maybe the hockey gods are going to shine on them because
That's
they
what
didn't.
we've been saying.
And they
We
played
said
hard
That's what
right
Max
till the
says.
end.
We said
That's what
it.
Max says.
Well, we also said it on every
Manifest.
postgame show in the last third of the season. We said the words. The Coyotes have been playing well. They've been competing. They've tried their hardest, and they shall be rewarded from the hockey gods.
They
And I
shall
think
be released.
They shall. There's a lot of
Did
you
you see
watching
the numbers of Aiden? Aiden ran this tankathon 500 times. Aiden,
today.
make sure you eat and go to work if you need to
So
go to
they
work.
won 44 times and moved up to number 2 41 times.
That's 81 out of 500. I mean, if Jesse was here, we could do the math.
Aiden needs to be in Secaucus right now.
But it's a lot.
Aiden.
Those are good numbers.
But you're saying there is no representative in Secaucus?
No, it's just all virtual now.
Oh, I don't know where my trust level is on that.
By the way, speaking of
Maybe that's what they needed to do to change their luck. Who knows?
I think they're going.
of lottery
Here we
stress. My friend is a huge San Jose Sharks fan, just texted me, I'm watching this highlight take and I'm so pissed off the Sharks didn't legitimately tank for this, like as we were talking about it. Oh man. All right. Well, we are it's about to
It'll
start.
take them a minute to start.
There's a lot of you guys here watching live, so thank you. Please like this video while you're here. And a lot of people are asking, where's the link to watch it? If you have cable, if you have streaming, you can check out ESPN online or wherever you have cable to watch. So we are doing a second screen experience here as we await the lottery balls to go. But right before we do, as ESPN is firing up for this, if you want to test your luck and place some bets, I don't know, if we're feeling positive about the future, why not put some money on some future bets? Some big changes with the Florida Panthers going up 3-0 on Toronto on BetMGM. They now have the best odds to win the East, which is insane. So if you want to get your bets in, you should do so
You could chuck.
on BetMGM, and make sure you use that bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live, but for our Arizona audience, you'll get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details, and now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
All right. And it's been a stressful day. When I get stressed, sometimes I stress eat. And nothing better to stress eat than some Circle K snacks. They got the best chips, they got the best candy, and also great gas prices. And for those of you who have stopped at a Circle K in the Phoenix area, you might have seen some familiar faces on the gas station screen. Maybe me, maybe Derek, maybe Lindsay. I don't know.
Sorry if it was Derek.
So just another great reason to check out Circle K. You might see some familiar faces there. So make sure you're not missing out on all the great stuff Circle K has to offer. And right now there's a text to win promotion. Text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy one, get one free offer on 32-ounce Polar Pops. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. We are trying to get this up on our end in just a second here, but everybody in the chat, pulse check, one word. How's everybody feeling? Let us know in the chat. One word to describe
And I will
how
say
you're
this,
feeling.
as you read those terms, remember last year when we did this, there was so much confusion, and all of a sudden, boom, they're going. So one of the things I want people to look for when they're watching at home, they're looking for Bill Daly unwrapping the envelopes. The first envelope that we want to see is the Calgary Flames. That's what we want to see first. Actually, Craig, it would be better if we don't see the Calgary Flames first. No, we do want to see them. because I was thinking they would have won one of the lotteries, and then, we don't want that.
You guys, my heart is so pounding. You might hear it in the mic. Like, I'm not kidding.
We
Holy
want to
moly.
see the Calgary Flames.
If I faint on air, I need somebody to step in.
Well, last year,
my
and
God.
once they start buzzing through these things. This is for a hockey fan. This year's draft, more than any other draft, this changes your team. Even last year's team, where we thought, oh, Shane Wright, that's the change. Oh, you've got to get right. We got to get right, wrong for right. I think we got the best player in Logan Cooley at 3. This is not that. This is clearly not
This
that.
is Connor McDavid. This is Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like,
Can you imagine one of the
No.
wearing the Kachina?
No. Who seriously? What is the last franchise player that the Coyotes have had? It's Keith Tkachuk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mike Commodore
Crazy.
tweeted,
2
folks,
decades.
my money is
2
on the
decades.
Arizona Coyotes.
There you
winning
go.
this
Like
lottery."
Commodore, pack your stuff.
It's time. Pack your shit.
Now,
Oh, man.
I will say this because we're watching on 2 different feeds here. Whatever one's first is the one we're going to all go off of.
Are you
At least
gonna
we're
be
all
announcing them,
together,
Petey?
so Craig
What's
doesn't
that?
spoil it like last year.
Yeah, last year Craig was at the arena last
Inside
year,
information.
and he would buzz
Bill
like
Daly was
30
feeding me the
seconds
cards.
before. He was 2 cards ahead of us. It was a disaster. Well, Coyote fans, this is it. Whatever you have for your good luck charm, hold on to it, grab it tight, because this is where it all changes. And then you can celebrate it all with all of us in Nashville.
Hell yeah.
Come to Nashville.
We're going to
Boy,
Nashville.
We're going to
Howdy.
Nashville. Are you going to Nashville with us? Come
Heck
to Nashville.
Yes, it's going to be so much fun. We have a lot of fun stuff planned. Drinking on a boat, going to a winery, hanging out.
Seems like a lot of alcohol involved.
You know,
It is Nashville, though.
yeah, it's
I
going to
think
be a
Mac
blast.
wants to go to Nashville too, so we got to take care of that. We got to get y'all to
Get your
Nashville so that Mac
tickets.
can come too.
You can buy them on the website, gophnx.com, in the events tab. And if you're a diehard, you get a discount. So if you're a diehard, check out the tickets so you can get 20% off. One of the great perks of becoming a diehard. Some comments, hold on to your butts. People are saying, I'm ready, anxious, having faith, content, and itchy, but that's another story. All right. Excited, pumped like hell, stressed, uninspired, scared, sweaty, sick, nervous, hyped. LFG. I love the vibes in the chat. Keep it coming. We are waiting for them to start pulling these cards. Oh my God, I'm going to literally throw up.
Yeah, it is. This is the part
I'm
where
drinking.
we've been here so many times,
Yep.
and it just
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about the
That's
past.
why
Petey.
but that's why you can't get the nerves. That's why you can't get. It's going to happen.
Can't control it.
You can't control it.
Can't control it.
So there's no point in getting sick.
I always wonder how whoever's representing the Coyotes, and clearly the GM cares one way or the other, whether they're there or not, but how you manage those emotions in situations like this. Like when there's a franchise player at the top of the draft and you have a chance, how do you manage your
Here we go.
emotions? And
That
how do
one
you
is gonna
not
be
show disappointment? Here we go.
So
Here
when
we
you're
go,
watching
DP.
it, oh, did they go to another?
Oh, there are
The
no ping
balls.
pong balls. Stop showing ping pong balls. They don't use them anymore. It's numbers. Oh, they just
Actually, the
Oh,
numbers.
they just
showing
showed
the
Patty
past.
Kane.
Craig, you are wrong. The numbers are on the balls. There's 4 sets of numbers, and the numbers are on the balls marked 1 through 9.
Really? Did you read
Yes.
Aaron Porceline's story?
Yes.
Okay, so it's on the
They're numbered 1 through 9. They draw those balls that make up the 4-digit code that goes to the formula.
Okay.
Oh,
stop
it. We have balls.
Nate McKinnon,
Oh,
Patty
Patrick
Kane,
Kane.
yada yada, Steven Stamkos. Oh,
McKinnon
what do those guys
again.
all have in common? They all
They've
went
all-
number
And
one.
they've all won Stanley Cups.
But so the key is when you're watching this, you want the numbers to go in order. You want the Calgary Flames card to come up first.
Yes.
That's what you want.
Yep.
If it is not first and it's Nashville, that means one of those spots is already gone.
All right, we got. Is that Kevin Weeks?
Kevin
Yep.
Weeks.
He's standing in front. Oh
That's
my God! You guys, my watch, high heart rate. Your heart rate rose above 120 beats per minute while you seem to be inactive for 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, Apple, I'm freaking out.
Call the doctor.
Oh, they're showing Anaheim, Columbus, and
Yeah,
Chicago.
wait, why aren't they showing our
Sure,
show?
just go ahead. Well, they're showing the top three.
Yeah, it's the top
you get
three.
it.
We're going to...
It
Listen,
makes
if
sense.
anyone is going to get number one besides the Coyotes,
Showing the
I
three
hope
markets
it's
that are going to be
Columbus.
disappointed.
If it's not the Coyotes, I want it to be Columbus.
I kind of do too.
I don't want it to be Chicago for all the reasons
No.
aforementioned.
And I don't want it to be Anaheim.
Good God.
I'd rather have San Jose
Yeah,
than,
me too.
than Anaheim or
Same.
Chicago.
I don't want... Yeah. I don't want Zegras and
Are we talking
Bedard.
about that right now? Who's most deserving? Who's least deserving?
Yeah,
While we
why
wait
not?
here?
Yeah, let's talk about
Let's
it. while
talk
we
about
wait.
it. Who do you think is the most deserving aside from the Coyotes?
Well, it clearly is. Honestly, sincerely, I know it's the Coyotes. So if we can't say the Coyotes, it's still the Coyotes because nobody's had more draft lottery infutility than this team. It has to be the Arizona Coyotes. That's who deserves this. Aside from them, there's just so many teams I dislike that I don't want to win more than there's teams that I go, oh, that'd be okay.
I just look at the teams that have had bad luck in the lottery repeatedly. Columbus is one of those teams, and it's hard to hate the Columbus Blue Jackets.
No,
Why
I
would you hate
love,
the Blue
I
Jackets?
love seeing a small
How do you
market team
work up a ladder
succeed.
to hate the Blue Jackets? Two other teams that have had very bad luck in the lottery, but don't evoke a lot of positive emotions from other fan bases are the Detroit Red Wings and the Vancouver Canucks. Detroit, you remember, had that epically bad year and then dropped 3 spots. They got screwed in that lottery. That was nuts. So Detroit, Vancouver, I would say those are other teams that are deserving at least. The teams that I want to see win this the least, the team that I grew up rooting for. It's just weird to be in that spot. But the Chicago Blackhawks don't deserve this. They got Patty Kane and, oh, by the way, Kyle Beach. So let's not forget about that. The Montreal Canadiens just won it last year. Philadelphia moved up from 12 to 2. Do you remember when they moved up 10 spots to get Nolan Patrick? Mind you, they got Nolan Patrick.
Yeah.
But they moved up 10 spots. You used up all your chits in one draft lottery. Sorry, Philadelphia. You don't get it either.
The Coyotes have never, ever moved up.
Nope.
Thank you to Joe Ducko on Twitter for doing the math.
Amazing.
So the chances of the Coyotes winning at least one lottery drawing in their history, heading into this lottery, 82.6%, which means there's only a 17.4% chance that they would never move up. Well, that's exactly what we're
happened.
looking at.
Right.
So if the Coyotes can defy all odds in that way, why can't they hit on the 7.5%?
Well, it's time. And Joe updated those. It's over 85% if they don't win this year. It's like, it's getting crazy. It's getting to the point where it's crazy that they haven't moved up once. So
I will
it's
say,
time.
No, they go backwards.
No, they go
Michaela.
backwards. I will say this, that Craig and Connor Bedard have similar art behind them for their headshots.
their at-home shot.
Craig's got a Picasso original. I'm not sure what that is, but somebody could probably try
I
it
also,
in.
Picasso
it's
original.
so bright in his home, and he's just
Well,
wearing
of
a black.
course. He's got the
black,
all-white background.
Man. They're showing us the odds right now.
Don't tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds.
There you go.
Whew.
Let's go.
All right. Well, here's the rules they're going over now. So 2 drawings for 16 teams that did not make the playoffs. Teams can only move up a max of 10 spots. If a team in the 12 to 16 range wins the first drawing, the first pick will remain with the Anaheim
Don't want to
Ducks.
see that. Don't want to see
So
that.
we're going to start to see a lot of stuff. And someone on Twitter also mentioned one of the first things we want to see as well is the Ottawa Senators stick at number 12.
Yes.
Because we do not want to
Yes.
see the Ottawa Senators jump into the
Yes.
top 5. That is a top 5 protected pick. The Coyotes would not get that pick in that case.
So that's the way we want things to go as this unfolds. We want to see the cards tumble as they come up. We want Calgary to go first, all the way up to number 12, Ottawa.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see.
Ottawa's
happen.
had good fortune in this
Bill Daly's
lottery.
at
Here
the
it is.
podium.
Bill Daly is at the podium.
So it's time to start.
Here we go.
And once these things start rolling, they start rolling. So
They
we're
do.
looking for the Calgary Flames off the top. That's what we're looking for in the 16th spot. They were the first team
Here we go.
to be
Oh,
eliminated.
yes!
Number
Okay.
16
And at number
is up.
16,
Number 16. Here we go.
please be the Calgary Flames.
Oh, Calgary.
Calgary Flames.
All
All
right.
right.
Good start. Good
That's
start.
a good start.
So
Now
far,
we
so
need-
good.
There's Don Maloney. Former
Don.
Coyote GM Don Maloney. Like, oh, yeah, great.
Don's going to look great at 80, huh?
Yeah, isn't he 80 right now? And now we're looking for Nashville at 15. We're
Come on.
rooting for the
Come on.
Nashville
Stick.
Predators at 15.
Stick right there. There we
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
There we go.
Good.
All good so far.
David Poyle.
Love the
Did not-
the framing on
He
that
retiring
one.
David
Poyle.
See, we're going to go quick now. 14, we're looking for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins to stay
This
in
is where
at
the
14.
conspiracies start.
This is where it starts.
This is where the conspiracies start.
So if it's
Oh, let me
Buffalo,
Pittsburgh.
It's Pittsburgh.
All good still.
all good. So we
good.
need 2 more to fall in
Oh,
place.
that's
we need
a nice little
Buffalo.
placement for
Wow.
those guys.
We need Buffalo to fall in next.
All right.
Buffalo
Sorry,
and
Sean.
then
We need
Ottawa.
Buffalo here.
So the next 2 we need to stay in place. Looking for, sorry, DP, but we want to see the Buffalo Sabres at 13.
Ooh. Buffalo.
Oh.
All right, this is a big one.
This is the big one.
Ottawa.
This
Another
is a big
former
one right
Coyote,
here.
Coyote player, Kevin Adams. Ottawa, this is huge. This is huge because this
If you're
is the
ahead
pick.
of us, don't spoil it in the chat, please.
Yes.
Exactly.
Please. No, it's okay. I'm not looking.
No.
But
Come
So
on,
we
Ottawa.
want to see the Ottawa Senators because this guarantees
This
the
is
Coyotes
big.
a pick
Nice.
Yes. That's a huge pick for the
So we
Coyotes
know
have
for sure
guaranteed 2 picks in the top 12.
Look, they just showed Bill Armstrong, so 100% the
That
Coyotes
is
are
huge.
picking.
And you remember
12.
how they
Because of them moving up, that puts them into the top 5, which means it's protected and
Yeah.
they don't get the pick. So that's huge. Coyotes are not guaranteed 2 picks in the top 12 of this draft.
Number
Come on,
11.
Vancouver.
Give
Vancouver.
us Vancouver. Give us
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
stick with Vancouver. Stick with the Canucks.
Yes.
Oh.
There it is.
Woo!
She's getting tight now.
Woo! All right.
St.
St.
Louis
Louis.
Blues are up next.
Come on.
St. Louis
Stay
on the clock.
with St. Louis. Come on, baby.
St. Louis.
Stop it.
St. Louis.
St. Louis at number
St. Louis
10.
Blues.
Come on, St. Louis.
Come on, St. Louis. All
Stick
right.
it.
So far, so good.
Wow.
So far, so good.
Wow. Well, this is one of the conspiracies we had coming up was the Detroit Red Wings coming in and making a big jump there. So they're next
Overdue.
at number 9, Detroit Red Wings. So we're looking for the winged wheel at 9.
And it
All
stays.
right.
Detroit. Oh my
We're
goodness.
going according to script so far.
Okay, we're moving into the first place the Coyotes can drop.
Yep.
So,
Yes. So if we see it, oh, this is at coming in at number 8.
oh, please.
Did they go
No,
back
no,
2
no.
spots?
Nope. Nope.
They did not. It stays at Washington.
Okay.
All right.
So they did not jump 2 spots, which is good because
So
Coyotes have fallen 2
This
spots
next
before.
one is worrisome because the Coyotes have the best odds of picking 7,
Seventh.
41.4%. So
and we want to see
this is a huge hurdle to get
this
over.
is the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh my gosh.
So
They
now,
didn't
Now
drop.
we need to look
They
at Daddy
didn't
Briere.
drop.
Look at Daddy
Another
Briere
card
right
They
there.
didn't drop.
so this is
All
the
right,
first.
they
The
have
Coyotes
not
did not
dropped.
drop.
They've held serve,
This
which they've
is
done
it.
a bunch of years.
This is
This
it.
is
Now,
Do not
now
show
we need
me
some
it.
magic. Now
Show
we
me-
need some magic,
Is it
Bill
the
Daly.
Arizona Coyotes?
We need
or
some
did
magic,
they move
Bill
up?
Daly.
Come on, Bill.
No!
Oh, God damn it. God damn it.
Ah! Sad.
God
Sad.
damn it. Just silence. Just utter silence. I really thought this was the year. I thought this was the year.
Wow, everything's
Montreal at
going
5.
in order.
Montreal at 5.
Oh my God.
If the
Nothing has
Chicago
changed.
Blackhawks are going to
This
get it,
is the
According to, have
weirdest
we ever had
lottery
a lottery
ever.
that has ever gone according to script completely?
no, not completely from top to bottom.
6 and 12.
4 San Jose Sharks are up next on the clock.
This is crazy.
Crazy.
And then we'll take a pause before the top 3, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
We'll have a commercial break. It's
Oh
I
my
can't
according to
believe
God.
script.
This is insane.
crazy.
So Chicago,
Those 3 teams that we just
Columbus.
saw. Chicago,
I'm texting
Columbus,
my
and
Sharks
Anaheim.
Columbus,
fan friend.
Anaheim.
Oh my God.
Do not show me the
Nobody
black.
moved up.
This
Nobody
is
has
insane.
moved up.
This is
So-
so
As I go to commercial, I'm going to go with what Craig said is the conspiracy theory. This is the league waiting down the balls for the Chicago Blackhawks, who are now one of the big TV markets. They've lost their number 1 and 2 players. They lost Patrick Kane.
this
They
is
lost
the weirdest
Taves.
lottery ever.
And
We're
now
gonna
it's
pick
their
at 6
time to
and 12.
replenish those. And if they do win, that's a conspiracy. And we've said it for 6 months that that's who's going to win this thing.
Just a reminder, Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, Matvei Michkov, Leo Carlson, Will Smith, and
Everybody else.
everybody
And guess
else.
who's everybody else? Number 6,
So
Arizona Coyotes. All those wins. Was it worth it? I don't know. It kept us happy for 82 games, but
I will say that Coyotes don't have to worry about the Capitals taking Matvei Michkov, right? Or do that?
well, Matvei Michkov is probably.
We'll talk
good.
about
We'll
that in
see.
a minute. I'm curious about that one now.
Okay. Ideal scenario for me, it's
That's-
Columbus number 1, Anaheim 2, Chicago 3.
yes.
That's what I want to see.
Yes, I agree with that. So now the question is
I'm
going to
ill.
be, and I know we've talked about this on the show too, is what are we going to look at for draft picks from 6 to 8? There are some good players.
Yep.
There are good players. There aren't great players. There's good players. I think the best defenseman of the draft you're looking at in that spot
The Coyotes
in
need
6?
defense.
in 6. I think you can get the best defenseman in the draft at 6.
You can, yeah, you can if you want to make that move at that point. I'm not sure that the best defenseman is the 6th best prospect in this draft, though. It's going to be a tough one. This is a tough
David
one because, like, the
Reinbacher. I
top
was trying to think of
5,
the name. The Swiss kid,
and
David
Michkov
Reinbacher.
is an unknown, right? He could fall, and then
he
you're
could fall to 6.
then
and
you face a
take him at
quandary
6.
there. If you're
Take
Bill
him.
Armstrong, do you take him at 6?
I take him at 6.
I might.
If
I
he's
might.
at 6, I take him.
He is one of the 3
He's-
best players in this draft.
He's one of the 3 best players in the world. He's been ranked as high as 2 at times. I take him at number 6 if he's available.
I think I might too. Just you always say your
so
philosophy
the
is the best player available.
Will somebody take a chance on him before 6?
Gonna be interesting.
Because if the Coyotes do this, and if he is your Kirill Kaprizov.
Yep.
He is, and he's a better player than Kirill Kaprizov was at his time.
Crazy pure goal scorer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just got the high heart rate message again.
My heart rate is no
And
longer
see,
high.
Look at Hortonov said that the rumor is Montreal likes Dvorsky better, and Dvorsky's one of those that's a fringe guy. 6'7",
Dvorsky better than who?
Michkov.
But they might take him for the reasons we mentioned at 4. You might not take a chance on Michkov at 4.
But somebody said, where did I read it? Oh, Will Smith is ours if Montreal wants.
So
Dvorsky.
Joe Ducko just updated, by the way. It's now official, so I'll update for 2023. The Coyotes have never moved up in a draft lottery in their history. The chances of that happening, only 14.8%.
That's unbelievable.
Insanity.
Unbelievable. Well, I will say staying even keel throughout this process has left me feeling pretty
Just
even
lose a
keel.
couple more games.
Yeah,
Just
that's
lose a couple
frustrating.
more
And
games.
and there were nights that we sat here and we were angry, and I was mad. And we said, "What are you doing?" And all they had to do was get last. And you look at it,
And then they would have been picking
I'm going to say
Bedard,
it again.
Fantilli, or Carlson.
I'm going to say it again.
Or Will Smith.
I'm going to say it again. Why did you pick up Connor Ingram? To me, that changes everything. That was the one piece that could have got you. You'd have been playing Prosvetov for half of your games now. Look at all of the points that Connor Ingram brought to this team. And I love the kid. It's great. Here we go. Back.
All right.
Here
back
we go
at
for
it.
the top
So
three.
now, conspiracy theorists, they're not going to pull the Chicago Blackhawks now. And this will be the Sharks.
This better be the Blackhawks.
No, the Sharks already went.
This better be the
um,
Blackhawks right here.
Columbus.
That's all I got to say. This better be the Blackhawks.
Oh my God.
The Blackhawks have jumped.
I'm sick.
Are
What a
you
shock.
kidding me? And what did the guys at CH just said? Oh, we're going to get last. We're going to get last. They still have NHL talent on the team. Kane played for this team for the entire year. Are you out of your mind? So you're looking at Fantilli. At worst,
All right,
Fantilli's
Anaheim
going to
has
Chicago.
to fucking win because I
Yeah, but do you want him going there either? Trevor Zegras,
what other
Connor
choice do I
Bedard,
have?
Trevor
I'd
Zegras,
rather
Troy
see-
Terry,
I'd rather see a Western hockey market like the Anaheim Ducks
and the number one
have
pick.
the
Here it
franchise
is.
player. Anaheim. If it's Chicago, I'm throwing up.
The Chicago Blackhawks are picking first in the 2023 draft. The Chicago Blackhawks are picking first in the 2023 draft. A team that has won the Cup. How many times, Craig?
They won 3 times with Patty
Three
Kane.
times with Patrick Kane.
And, oh, by the way,
Jonathan
Kyle
Toews.
Beach.
I'm sick.
Have we mentioned Kyle Beach?
I'm sick.
They have now had the top pick twice. Once got them 3 cups.
Your freaking tinfoil hat.
I'm literally stunned, like literally stunned at the percentages. What were their chances at Leah Merrill? 11.5. So goes to show you all of those points that everybody was like, oh, I'm so glad they made it to overtime. But are you now?
Yeah.
And I said, remember this day when they win a game in November that no one's going to care about now. Do you remember the standings right now, Craig?
Look how
No.
happy he is.
Well, do you remember the standings?
Nope.
This
they don't
GM
matter.
was on the borderline of
Sorry.
getting fired, Kyle
Sorry.
Davidson.
Sorry,
This
Andre
organization's a
Tourigny. Sorry,
disaster.
all Coyotes players, but yeah, your wins didn't matter. You just missed out on a franchise player.
This is bullshit.
Multiple franchise players.
This unfolded. I mean, obviously, worst case was the Coyotes falling more than 6.
Yeah, so
but
6.
if sticking at 6, this was my worst
So
case scenario.
here's the lesson learned. When you have a generational player, and by the way, that's every generation, so it's not going to happen again for a generation. Lose. And if you start to win better than you were planning, trade some guys. Don't sign new guys. Mix up the locker room. Have a scandal. Do something so that a day like today, you're picking your guy. God damn it. It's just, I don't know how hard it is to get last. I think, Craig, you and I could GM this team into last. I think we could. Like it's
Well, I know
so
I could. I
frustrating.
have no ability as a GM at all.
Well,
so.
but it's just frustrating that I know those little wins. Oh, that was nice. No, it's not nice. I wanted to have a top 3 player, and now you don't.
Unbelievable.
So I want to put my frustration aside now and say Bill Armstrong sat here and said there'll be a good player at 6 through 10. Coyotes have picks at 6 and 12. If they hit on both of those players at 6 and 12 and get a good player at 6 and 12, this will be a successful draft. It will be. There are good players. Connor McDavid was the best player of his generation and has yet to make it to the Stanley Cup final. So there is still hope. You need to hit on those 2 picks, though. So let's hope their development staff, their scouting staff is prepared, and they've got the right guys. And I know we're going to get a chance to talk to Bill Armstrong in a little bit about how he feels about this.
One team in this entire draft lottery changed positions. One team.
And it was?
The Chicago Blackhawks. That is, of all the teams, what they, I'm sorry, like I feel bad. I feel sick for, I don't know, the Kyle Beach situation.
Yeah.
The fact that, and I know it's just,
okay.
I know it's just random, but this is bullshit.
But Leah, let's go back to what Craig said now. Earlier in the show, he said that now all of a sudden, Chicago Blackhawks are for real right now. Instantly.
Yep.
Instantly. Connor Bedard comes in there. Seth Jones, who was an albatross there, is now, hey, Chicago's the place to go. Chicago's the place to be. Is that because of their general manager, Davidson? Did he do anything?
He did nothing.
No. He got a team that was supposed to be a playoff team into last. So now he looks like a genius? Are you out of your mind? And that's what's so frustrating here is now this team has just propelled themselves into the stratosphere of guess who? The Colorado Avalanche now. So now the Central Division next year is Dallas.
The fucking Central Division.
Chicago. Yeah, guess who's in the Central? The Coyotes. So guess who's going to get last next year when it doesn't matter? The Arizona Coyotes are going to finish last next year.
Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah, Macklin Celebrini is a good player.
You are an Arizona Coyote.
They're not going to get last. Who are we kidding? They're not going to get last.
But
they don't finish last. They don't get the message. They don't get the memo.
This was the year. We've known it for how long that this was the year, Craig?
I gotta go, guys.
All right. We'll see you soon, Craig. Craig is so disgusted he's walking off. Just kidding. He's going to go talk to Bill Armstrong, and then Bill Armstrong will be joining us live here shortly. So stay tuned. Again, if you're just getting here, hit the like button on our video. We need Now it's time to move into Pat therapy mode.
Yeah, I'll switch.
And,
I got a kilt lifter going, so I'll be okay.
So, like I said, stick around. GMBA will be calling in shortly so we can ask him everything that I know people have been, I'm sure, dying to know. Obviously, he's not going to tell us who they're going to pick, but we'll ask him about this scenario. But before we talk a little bit more, at least, Petey, I have something to look forward to, and that is our Mountain Mike's delivery tomorrow, because I'm going to need some pizza and wings after this. Man, I look forward to our Mountain Mike's deliveries every other week because they just have such good pizza. And especially tomorrow, I'm going to need it. Nothing like little pizza the day after getting disappointed. So if you want to try out Mountain Mike's, you can head over to mountainmikespizza.com or check out their Mesa, Chandler, or Tucson locations to place your next order. And as a reminder, now diehards can get a $50 voucher upon signing up. So just another perk to becoming a diehard. And if you want to sign up to be a diehard, do so at gophnx.com/diehard. Tons of perks. You can read all of Craig's diehard only pieces on the website. You can get 20% off all of our merchandise and events as well. And right now in our PHNX locker, we have a great deal going on. Phoenix Suns, at least, have won their last 2 games to even the series up, and all of our shirts are buy one, get one half off in the PHNX locker right now. So if you want to channel your frustration about the Coyotes into maybe cheering for the Suns, check out the phnxlocker.com. There's some amazing, amazing merch in there. And like we said, we hope that you'll come to Nashville with us. I know we're all feeling a little disappointed that they're only picking 6, but they're going to get 2 amazing players in the top 12. We're going to have an amazing time. Like I said, pontoon boat, winery, meetups, watch parties, go to the draft, go to Nashville. You want to go to Tootsie's with Petey?
I will be at Tootsie's.
Come hang out with us. It's going to be so much fun. So if you're a diehard, you get 20% off on all merchandise and events. Just one of the perks of becoming a diehard. So we hope that you become one. All right. Have you thought any more about how you feel, or
No, I am
ALLCITY
genuinely
Slack is blowing up because
I am genuinely frustrated and unhappy about Chicago getting that pick. I genuinely am. And we talked about all the reasons why it's frustrating, but this doesn't mean that the Coyotes can't get into the playoffs and win a Stanley Cup. It doesn't mean that.
No. But
it just means they don't get that pick. That's all.
Listen, I would rather have this situation unfold and have the vote go through next week than the Coyotes win and that fail. Like if this has to be the one thing, the one hurdle to get to that, I'm fine with that because next week is far more important for the long-term future of this team.
But you look, and again, here's where I want to give people hope. I keep saying that I think the Dallas Stars are a Stanley Cup contender this season. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
They might lose to Seattle. They might. And they might lose to Edmonton, but they're a Stanley Cup contender. And you look at their roster and you look at their best players. Their number one forward, their best forward, led the team in points. Their go-to guy is Jason Robertson. Jason Robertson is a second-round pick. He was picked 39th overall. Jake Ottinger, the number one goalie left in the playoffs, and I know he didn't play great last game, but I still think he's the best goalie left in the playoffs. He was picked 26th overall. So there are opportunities to get really good players if you do it right. So this isn't just, oh, you got this guy, you got Bedard, and you're going to win, because we've seen it with McDavid.
Yeah.
Not winning, right?
We've also seen it, sorry to say, but with Buffalo picking second and not winning.
Right.
Sorry to say, but it's true. And that brings us to the fact that the Coyotes are picking 6th overall. And you know what? There have been some really good picks at 6, Petey.
There have been?
So we have the list here.
So at 6, we should look at who's been good.
In the lottery era, and this is our opinion, the top 5 number 6 overall picks in the lottery era. First up, Matvei Michkov.
By the way, best player right now, the leading candidate for the Conn Smythe Trophy, the best player in the playoffs.
Heard of him?
Matvei Michkov. Picked at what number?
6.
6. Leading candidate for the best player in this year's playoffs.
Like, almost single-handedly dragged the Florida Panthers
100%. He's pulling the rope.
Where they are right now.
Yep. So you get the right guy at 6 and you can have success.
Next
Who
up,
else?
Mika Zibanejad. Drafted
Carried
by
his
Ottawa,
team.
now playing for the
New York Rangers. Carried his team to the Eastern Finals a year ago. Not a bad player.
Next, someone all Coyotes fans are familiar with, Oliver Ekman-Larsson was a 6th overall pick. And I know this is now a little bit tainted, just given how things ended here and where he is in his career now. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on
Took his team to the Western Conference in 2012 and was one of the offensive leaders of that team. He was.
Yep.
And I don't know if his trajectory of his career followed exactly the way he thought they would, but he is a heck of a hockey player.
Another one, Mikko Koivu. He was picked 6th overall by the Minnesota Wild. He played 1,000 NHL games, had 711 points in those games. And then the other one, Scott Hartnell. I think a lot of people know him. Drafted 6th overall by Nashville at the time, which I don't even think I knew. But he played a huge role in getting the Philadelphia Flyers to their Stanley Cup final, right? When they played the Chicago Blackhawks.
But do you have, this is just in this era. Do you have
I have
the
a
other
list?
list?
Yep.
So, and I get it. That's during
That's the lottery
the
era.
lottery era. But there are some unbelievable players
ready
picked
for
at
them?
6. I am ready for them.
Peter Forsberg.
Peter Forsberg? Do you know he won a cup with the Colorado Avalanche? Yeah. Phenomenal player. Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg. Those two together, phenomenal players. He was picked 6th overall. Huh.
Ready?
Yes.
Phil Housley.
Hall of Famer Phil Housley, Buffalo Sabre, played in the NHL when he was 18 years old out of Minnesota High School. Yeah, Minnesota. I said Minnesota. Hall of Famer Phil Housley, picked at 6. Who else?
Paul Coffey.
Who? Paul Coffey? One of the best defensemen to ever play in the National Hockey League, won multiple cups with the Edmonton Oilers, picked at what number?
Number 6.
Paul Coffey, picked at 6. So those are 3 pretty good players
There's
so
one
far.
more.
Is there more?
Doug Wilson.
Doug Wilson, another outstanding player, Chicago Blackhawk history. There are some very good players picked at 6. So do not despair, Coyote fans, because someday we'll be sitting back here 20 years from now going, remember when Bill Schlabicki got drafted by the Coyotes 6th overall? Well, there you go. He was 6th. You can still have successful teams if you pick right at 6 and 12. This draft could change this team because we talked about Dallas in that year. They picked at 26 and 49, changed their life. They also got Miro Heiskanen at 3. But that draft got a forward, a defenseman, and a goalie in the first 2 rounds, changed their franchise.
And we talked to Corey Proman last week, and we said if you can redraft the 2022 draft, he's picking Logan Cooley either at 1 or 2. So if you want to look back and maybe even consider Logan Cooley a 1 or 2 overall pick in that year, like if the Coyotes got the 2nd pick, let's just say, they might have picked Logan Cooley there.
I think they would have.
So we can possibly consider Logan Cooley maybe being a top 2 pick.
Yep.
History will tell, just based on even all of these names we read, like who knew these players who were going to be great, because we've also seen some horrible picks at number 1, and I'm not saying Connor Bedard is going to be that, but we have, like, this is the most complete scouting staff the Coyotes have ever had. In Bill Armstrong we trust, and this is what they've been preparing for this entire year. It's disappointing. I know we're all feeling very disappointed. I am. I think I'm feeling right now, I feel my disappointment that Chicago is picking first is outweighing my disappointment that the Coyotes stayed at 6.
I agree. And I think, honestly, the Coyotes deserve 6 because that's where they finished. That's the way life goes. But for Chicago, with all they've mired and muddled through and how they screwed up the cap after their cups and just the disaster that franchise has become, for them to be rewarded with this is really frustrating. And you're right. So that part, it's tougher for me to watch that they had, 1 or 2 bad years? And now they're going to go right back to being a playoff contender. That's frustrating to me. And when you watch the Coyotes, my fear is next year's going to be worse. Next year's going to be tough. And I think for a lot of the reasons we've talked about, the goaltending with Ingram and how well they played, they hit the right free agents that were good guys that were on the end of their contract trying to get traded, like Buzet, Gostisbehere. That may not happen next year. And now you're looking at a team that's going to struggle mightily next year again. And when does this end? Like when does this futility end? And I know there's a lot of good players. And I was on talking to people today, and you still look at Cooley and Geeky and Gunther and Michelli and JJ Mosier, and there are so many good pieces to this team. This draft is not the end all be all. It isn't. And I'll tell you the other thing, when we get to the draft in Nashville, you're going to sit there and watch the first round. I guarantee it, and you can mark it right now. You're going to see 31 teams. Is it 32?
32.
I was close. You're going to see 32 teams go, yeah, we got our guy. I have yet to go to a draft and say, oh, we didn't get our guy. Did you see the NFL draft last week? How many people are jumping down? I got the right tackle from Iowa. Really? You know that guy's going to be a player? You don't know. They're
18. They're 17.
Exactly.
And
so
18.
Relax, because everybody's going to love their guy. Let's redo it in 3 to 5 years. And I believe that with the number of picks they have in the first 3 rounds over the next 3 years, this franchise can still be on a path to turn around to be a perennial playoff team. I just do.
Okay. Well, from someone negative, I appreciate the positive sentiment.
I think that's just reality. And, I am frustrated they didn't get it. I am frustrated. And I think this is the sentiment every year that you wait for this day. It's like Christmas morning. You've waited all year for it and you didn't get what you asked for because Santa sucks sometimes. And that's the way this feels with the lottery draft. It just feels like you didn't get your Christmas presents.
Sometimes.
You didn't get what you asked for. And you know what? That's okay.
I have a couple other notable 6th overall picks to share with you, just because I'm trying to bring
it up,
not just for everyone but for myself as well. Jamie Drysdale, still young prospect, 2020, 6th overall pick.
Anaheim defenseman, love him, by the way.
How about Calder winner Moritz Seider?
Seider was a 6th overall?
2019.
So these are recent number 6s.
Pavel Zacha, New Jersey, 2015. Sean Monahan, 2013.
Sean Monahan was a key part of the Calgary Flames for years. Hampus Lindholm, huge player. Yeah, there are And he had a great run with the Boston Bruins this year, by the way. Hampus Lindholm was one of the guys that drove them from the back end. You see, and here's what was common. A lot of those guys you just named, defensemen.
Yeah. Coyotes need defensemen.
Because when you look at this team and what they do not have in their cupboards is a defenseman. We talked about the defenseman depth a lot during this season, and one of the areas that fall short. I know we've got the young guys. We've got J.J. Moser had a great year at the back end. They've got the Juuso Välimäki.
Craig left his phone and it is ringing.
Like, really? Really? Is that a professional journalist right there? But what the point is, and you've seen how stocked these teams are for you've seen how stocked these teams are, and the top of this draft is forwards. It just is. It's a lot of centermen. It's a lot of big centermen. So for the Coyotes to take the best defenseman available at 6 is not a bad idea.
No.
And there are good defensemen. And when we get our draft experts coming on, we're going to talk about the best defensemen coming up in this year's draft.
Yeah.
And I think
it's David Ryan. So Corey Proman, his rankings that he put out last week, his highest rated defenseman is David Reinbacher. He is
a Swiss defenseman. He's 6'2".
Yeah, 185 pounds, shoots right. He's projected top of the lineup player. If you look at the defensive depth of this Coyotes team, it is not.
It's thin.
It's
thin.
It's not great.
Yep. I mean, Välimäki and Moser are both really young. Soderstrom, we haven't decided if he could be an everyday NHL player yet. And beyond that, the guys that are filling holes right now are just filling holes, and that's Nemeth and Brown, and they're not going to be here when this rebuild is over. They need to start getting some defensive depth because guys like PJ, Joseph that they looked at having, Capobianco, Deneen, a lot of these guys that were part of it are not there. So they need to start stocking the covers at the back end. And I think at 6 and 12, you're going to have an opportunity to get a really good defenseman. Even at 12, you're going to get a good defenseman because it is so top heavy with forwards. So there is still really good hope here. So just, again, grain of salt. It sucks. Didn't get one of those top 3 that I think are really going to make a difference. But there's going to be a lot of conversations between now and the end of June on Matvei Michkov. And really what teams are going to take a chance on Matvei Michkov. Because there are players... Like we talk about Will Smith, would you take Will Smith right now ahead of Matvei Michkov, knowing that Will Smith's ready to play for you? The answer is probably yes. It's not impossible that Michkov falls to the Coyotes. I really believe that.
It's also not impossible, like someone said, like if Montreal, let's just say, was interested in Dvorsky, like we've seen teams go completely off script. And, we talked to Corey Proman, Chris Peters, Craig Button, Bob McKenzie. They have their order. But the Coyotes, for example, when they took Barrett Hayton, like that was off. When they took Blake Wheeler, that was off script. So a team ahead of the Coyotes can go off script. Like my gut's telling me somehow the Coyotes end up with Will Smith because it's the joke that we've been making for like 5 months.
Yeah.
Will Smith, you are an Arizona Coyote. And now like we would be thrilled for that to be true, which is the irony of the whole thing. We just don't know. We just don't know how things are going to unfold. It's going to make our conversations with, I think Chris Peters is the next guy we're going to talk to. It's going to make these conversations really, really interesting.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It is funny because I remember when they took Blake Wheeler at 5. There's a Minnesota high school kid out of Breck High School. No one knew. I had the Hockey News guide in front of me during that draft. Literally, he was not in it. Like not like in the top 10, top 50. He wasn't in the book. They went so far off the map. First of all, they were right. It was a great pick. It's just they couldn't get him signed. So that part kind of was unfortunate. But there might be, you never know, somebody may go off script because of the Matvei Michkov. They might.
Yeah.
Or we talk about drafting needs. Maybe that defenseman does go higher.
Well, just like last year when the Devils drafted Nemec, I think a lot of people were surprised. And at the time we were like, oh my God, Shane Wright could end up with the Coyotes, but they ended up with Logan Cooley, which I think we're all happy about. But like these things can happen. Like you never know.
Yes.
You never know.
Yeah. And now the speculation can start as we start to get guys like this. We're going to bring in all of these, Craig Button's coming in, and we're going to get guys to come in and talk to us about who's out there. We are going to have to, just like the Coyotes are going to do, we have to start zeroing in who's available 5 to 10. And Bill told us they do it in tiers, and they go, okay, here's where we're going to pick. Now that they know where they're going to pick, they can hone in on those guys in those areas. Because the reality is Chicago Blackhawks have no thinking on who they're going to draft now. It's Connor Bedard. That's it. Done. They have the next month off. Well, the Coyotes don't. They've got to figure out who is best in that tier. They're going to have a list. They'll have 4 players in that list. It's going to be a short list at 6 because they'll say if one of these guys falls, we're taking him. And I still think Matvei Michkov may be one of those guys that falls to 6. I still believe that. And to Craig's point, he might fall farther than that.
I just don't even have words. We have an ALLCITY Slack that includes our friends at DNVR and CHGO, and they just sent the CHGO guys reacting.
I don't want to see it.
And you know what? I like those guys. I really do.
But why not us?
Jay, Greg, Mario.
So
sorry.
Are they staying at we're all staying together?
In Nashville.
And we're all staying together in Nashville?
That's going to be fun.
I'm proposing, and I'm going to go in with the DNVR guys, and I think I have some buy-in here. I think we should make them stay in a tent. Are you in, DP?
They can stay on the roof.
100%.
They can stay in a tent in the backyard. I won't make them be in the front yard. They have to stay in a tent in the backyard as punishment.
As punishment. Listen, if the Coyotes won and they said you need to stay in a tent, sure.
We'd have to. Yep.
I'm
exactly.
staying in a tent.
Gotta stay in a tent.
I'm thrilled. Oh boy. Well, as a reminder,
do you know sign language from Craig? Because Craig's trying to tell us something. I have no idea what he's trying to tell us.
No, I don't.
Craig gets in a different zone at times.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we are awaiting soon, hopefully. GM Bill Armstrong will be calling in. Not sure exactly when yet, but I promise you he for sure is calling in. So definitely stay tuned. Hit the like button on this video while we wait, and maybe crack open a Four Peaks beer in the meantime.
I just did.
You're on to Kilt Lifter?
I'm on to Kilt Lifter.
Yeah. That's going to help get us through these next few weeks here. Four Peaks, thank goodness for them. We have a fridge stocked full of them here, and they have a lot of really great stuff going on right now at the Four Peaks 8th Street Pub. Starting today, Four Peaks for Teachers Teacher Appreciation Week. It starts on May 8th. Thank a teacher and nominate them to win grants, Four Peaks swag, and a grand prize of a custom makeover of their teacher's lounge at school. You can go to fourpeaksforteachers.org to nominate a teacher or donate. I love that. Definitely nominate a teacher. You can also check out Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub on Instagram to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. We were just watching the lottery, which I'm trying to push aside, on ESPN, which is carried by Fubo TV, PD, and a lot of the NHL playoff games are on Fubo TV. So if you're wondering, how the heck do I watch, as many people in the chat were earlier, Fubo TV, it's a great place to do that. 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device. There's 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. You can watch your local teams while traveling, which is what makes it so great. We got the Suns playoff run on ESPN, and tons of other sporting events as well. So you can watch the Suns with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo.
Can I say something?
Yes, you may.
So I started to look, and it was just perfect timing that Craig came back and sat down with us. I went back and looked at this year's lottery winner Chicago Blackhawks draft history over the last decade. You know what? They suck at this draft. and hear me out. I don't know. I've heard a lot of good things about Kevin Korchinski. Hasn't played yet. Frank Nazar hasn't played yet. So they had 3 first-round picks last year.
Korchinski's supposed to be a really good player.
Yeah, so we don't know yet. The year before that, they picked Nolan Allen in the first round, has yet to play a game. The year before that, they picked Lucas Reichel, who finally played some games this year. He's played 32 games. But that was in 2020. If you want to go before 2020, that's not pretty recent, right, Craig?
Yep.
Go to the first-round picks. Kirby Doc. Does he play there?
Nope.
Adam Boquist. He played there? Nope. Nicholas Bedoin. He played there? Minor leaguer. Henry Joki Harju? Nope. Buffalo. No first-round picks in 2016. No 2 first-round picks in 2015. Nick Schmaltz, does he play there?
Nope.
2014, 2013. Ryan Hartman? Nope. Teuvo Teravainen? Nope.
Oh, painful one.
So guess what? You know how far back you have to go, Kevin Hayes? No. They suck at picking guys in the draft. Why are we rewarding them, giving them first?
I could go off on this one for a long time.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to
go.
where they
I
drafted
grew
him.
up a Blackhawk fan.
Yeah.
This was my team until the Kyle Beach scandal.
And he was a first-round pick, by the way, in 2008.
Again, this is the only team that moved up in the draft. The only team that changed position. Obviously, they bumped Anaheim and Columbus, but that's probably Bill Armstrong calling into the show right now, which was probably a good thing to get me off of my rant.
And you can start us off here, Craig.
Why the Blackhawks are getting rewarded.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about this week coming up, but I'm happy that we are going to be joined by Coyotes general manager Bill Armstrong. Let's welcome him into the show. His first time calling in a while. Normally he's here in the seats with us, but Bill, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we have to hit publish, Sean.
Hold on one second, Bill.
One second. All right. Can you hear us?
Oh. Uh-oh.
It says, will unmute. Did you publish? Okay, try again. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh,
gotcha.
There we go.
We got you now. Sorry about that.
There we go. Sorry,
Thanks
Bill.
so much for joining.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure. Always love coming on.
Bill, we got a chance to chat just a moment ago on the Zoom call where we addressed reporters, but for our audience, can you sort of capture the emotions of the moment? There's a lot going on here because there were obviously 2 picks and a lot of possibilities. So what are you feeling right now?
Yeah. Well, we're very grateful on the fact that we're going to get Ottawa's pick. That's there was some risk in the pick in the sense that when you make the trade, we have the ability to, we thought would be somewhere between 17 and 12, which is really good value, plus 2 seconds attached. Then you come up to that pick and you're like, wow, you get kind of nervous because the fact is, it could flip to the following year, and Ottawa's, you never know where that pick's going to land. It's unprotected, but there's a lot of uncertainty. So for us to get the 12th pick, that's great. That gives us great value on the trade. We're really excited about that. We're going to get a good player at 12. So that's an exciting thing. I think your emotions, once you get past that point, and you're going up in the lottery, you're like, wow, no teams have moved. Hey, we got a shot here, And unfortunately, when they flipped the card over at 6, we were on it. But the good news to that is that we didn't move back. We stayed at 6 and 12, and that's an exciting. Listen, there's some money makers there. There's some hockey players that are there that we're really excited about as a staff that we have a chance to get. So that's the exciting part. I'm sure we would have liked to, shock the world by getting 1, but unfortunately, the lottery balls didn't fall our way. So we'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way and stack 1 good player on the next good player on the next good player. And, we're going to have more good players than the majority of NHL teams because of the amount of picks and how high we're picking. So this is part of the plan. And again, stick to the process. And here we go. Bill,
before you came on, we were wearing tinfoil hats on this show. literally wearing tinfoil hats. 1 team moved in this lottery. 1 team.
Yeah.
The Chicago Blackhawks, who shockingly did this when Patrick Kane was available in the draft as well. I'm not asking you to go here, but I would like to know, as a general manager, and you've talked to these guys a lot.
Yeah.
Did they like the way that the draft lottery is structured right now? Does it maybe need more tweaking?
I think they've done a really good job in saying you can only move 10 spots up. I think that's a really, you can only move 2 spots back. I think that's really been a game changer. I think it's listen, at the end of the day, the thing that you don't like is the uncertainty when you come up to it. The fact that if you really played it, your heart out as a team and you were dead last and all of a sudden you're picking at 3 now, you're not happy about that. So, but the lottery is designed in a way to prevent tanking, and so I think it's done it in this case. It's let's be honest, Chicago won against Pittsburgh that night. And they ended up winning the number 1 pick because of it. So probably karma was on their side, I guess.
But Bill, now that you've got, and I know, and we're right there with you, as we sat and watched it, and you see that number 6 flip over, and it's a Kachina jersey. And there's that sudden disappointment. But now, and more tomorrow when you wake up, now does this help focus your group, focus your scouts on, okay, now we know where we're at, now we can make a plan?
Yeah, for me, I guess I've been in the draft so long is that I don't truly get disappointed because I do believe things happen for a reason. It's the same reason if you look at, we picked 3 last year. our pick's pretty darn good pick at 3.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Time will tell if it's the best pick in the draft, but you know what? It's a heck of a pick, and I believe things happen for a reason. So here we are. We're going to take a swing at 6 and 12, and let's see what we can get done here. We can make some hay.
Bill, you feel having 2 picks in the top 12 of a fairly deep draft. As Coyote fans and faithful, this is still really positive, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's really, really positive, to be honest with you. Listen, some of the players that we watched overseas, I had a chance to go and watch the U18s. You get excited. I mean, these are guys that you want to play with it. They're blocking shots for their country with their face, and they're diving, and they're playing hard. I mean, they're championship type players, and we're going to have a chance to pick them at 6 and 12. I mean, let's be honest. This is an exciting time to be a Coyote. Might not be as sexy as the number 1 pick overall, and people are doing cartwheels, but I can remember with the Blues we had the number 1 pick overall, it didn't change our whole organization. What changed our organization was drafting one good player at a time and stacking him on the next good player, and having a great scouting staff, and it paid dividends. And the Blackhawks kicked our butt a few times coming down the stretch, and so did Los Angeles. But at the same time, we stuck to the process of just kept drafting one good player at a time, and it's not the sexy pick, but it's the pick at 6 and 12 that'll make our franchise great.
So obviously, there's 51 days till June 28th, the NHL draft. What is your plan and your team's plan from this day till that day? What's going to happen?
Well, it's now on to the amateur meetings. We've got the combine. There's some tournaments still going on overseas where the world championships are over there. So there's more scouting to be done. And there's more due diligence on players to be done to make sure that we get the right ones. So now it's really just focus. I think the staff is at a point right now that the numbers are in. We know where we're picking, and now they're excited about here's the players that are in that range. Now let's get down to making this list and get down to who we're going to get out of the grouping. So it's an exciting time because you're forced to make decisions on players. And listen, that you go into those scouting meetings and you hear the passion within your scouts about some of the players, and from me viewing some of the players, it's an exciting time for us as an organization. We're not picking, at 26, or we're picking or 1 pick at 59 in the draft. We got 2 that are 6 and 12. So let's put this into perspective. This is an exciting time for us.
And you put yourself back when you were in St. Louis too, and please share, you talked about having a first overall pick, but you built that team much deeper in the draft than 6 and 12.
Yeah, I think we have to go all the way back to Alex Pietrangelo to find a guy that you had in the top 10, right?
Yeah, but we made some hay the year we drafted Schwartz and Tarasenko. In that draft, there were 2 guys that played over 10 years and helped the Blues win a championship. And so when you get players of that caliber that you can draft and bring them into your team, and all of a sudden, you're not getting 1 good player, you're getting 2 good players from the draft. It makes a big difference in your organization. And then then also you think about the fact that the Gunthers of the world, we've already drafted the Coolies. You're bringing those guys in, and now you're bringing in 2 good players at 6 and 12. And then you go past that and say, hey, listen, we got 46 picks over the next 4 years. It's a good time to be a Coyote. The podcast in Toronto, how they speak about how our organization, they have no idea, the strides that we've made as an organization and how exciting it is to be a Yote. We're putting good players on the board, and it's an exciting time.
But when you just St. Louis, and I know you said Schwartz and Tarasenko, I just want people to know that Schwartz and Tarasenko were drafted 14th and 16th, not 6 and 12. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Leah.
I was just going to say, I think a concern right now of a lot of Coyotes fans, and I can see it in our chat, is does this affect the status of the rebuild at all? Does this move it backwards, or are we still, on pace and on the plan?
We're on the plan. I mean, we're on the plan. I think when you look at, it's funny, we had the meetings and one of the scouts stood up and said, oh, we got to add this player. We got to add this player. And I said, when we all came in here, I said, we're going to do some bad contracts first couple of years and blah, blah, blah. And now we're going to, and this year we're going to add some good young players in. And, and that's exactly where we are. The exact same process we started is exactly where we are right now. We're right on par. The only thing that I would say we're way ahead of is the fact that, the Haydens of the world, the Valimakis, the Vejmalikos, they've all kind of come up and they've helped, where we are as an organization, because there's some cornerstone pieces that you can build around. And the fact that we have that many draft picks coming up gives us a lot of options. It gives us options to be at the draft to move up. It gives us options to go buy players. It gives us options to draft players. It's money in the bank for us. So we're at a really good stage as an organization, and we've got a big vote coming up too. So I'm sure that will give us a lot of momentum too.
With all those draft picks you just mentioned, are you at a point where you want to be active in that process of maybe going out and buying players? Are you going to be looking to maybe add pieces that could grow with this team this summer? Do you know yet? Is that, I don't know what you're, go ahead.
It's a great question because, we're always going to be in search of more players. In any way we can. We're going to have the conversation, just like you said. Can we add a player through waivers? Is there a player that's going to be sitting there at the start of the year? Is there a player that's a free agent, or is there a group 6, or there's a guy in the minors that deserves an opportunity? That's where we have to continually look under every single rock to make sure that we can find any player that we think has value that can help our organization, and we have to be hungry on it. And I think, we're going to continue to do that. The Ingrams of the world and the Valimakis that we got off waivers have added to our depth and our core as an organization. And we have to continue to be hungry on those type of players to make sure that we move the franchise forward and continue with the rebuild, but continue on it with good players and hungry scouts.
Anything else?
Yeah. It's been a long day for you, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Yeah.
Well, listen, it's, if you hit the lottery, you're obviously, tickled pink, but hey, listen, we're excited too. We're picking at 6 and 12.
But one thing Bill, we told our listeners before you jumped on, and just so you can walk away from here, just a couple of names to throw at you that were picked 6th overall. Peter Forsberg, heard of him? Phil Housley, Paul Coffey, and this year's Matvei Michkov, who might be considered a Conn Smythe front runner right now in this year's playoffs. So a lot of really good hockey players picked 6th overall.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time, and we're happy to make you. You guys got something to talk about now. Not one pick, but 2 pick.
Exactly.
Appreciate that.
All right, I'm sure we'll catch up with you again before the draft, Bill. But thank you so much for joining us right after the lottery. Really appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, you.
Bill.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I tell you what, and that's just the calming influence, the
feel a
calming
little
effect
better.
that we want to feel. In Bill, we trust.
He's
until
been
we
here so
don't.
many times. That's the thing. Like we were just talking about with the Blues. They
Yep.
never had high picks.
No.
They never had high picks. They
And
won
that
a cup.
and that was the
They're
one
like
team
the exception. Yes.
I said they were the exception, and guess who was there? It was him.
Yep.
So the Coyotes have always been the exception.
Yeah, because you're right. You look at David Rundblad was a first-round pick of that team. Lars Ella, Ian Cole, and David Perron, who left and came back. But there were really only 3 first-round picks that were really a part of that team for that franchise, and none of them were picked this high.
They found players in other ways. They got Ryan O'Reilly. I mean,
They found players in other ways,
Yeah.
and they drafted well later in drafts.
yes, they did draft well later in drafts. Again, I always say it. You really want that cornerstone piece at the top of your lineup. You really want that guy, but we
Maybe
don't
it's
know
Cooley.
yet. Yeah,
Maybe
don't.
it's Gunther.
Logan Cooley might end up being the best player from last season's draft, and in which case, maybe they found him last year. We just don't know yet.
Yeah.
But you want to keep stacking as many of these guys as possible. They're probably going to get some more high draft picks next season. I'm curious what's going to happen at the draft as well. What sort of moves they'll make. I've talked about the possibility of Nick Schmaltz getting traded. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Maybe they keep him around because he's a really good running mate with Clayton Keller and it makes Clayton Keller happy, but also he has value.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of moving parts right now. The Matvei Michkov question comes in now. It's going to be a fascinating draft to cover from a Coyotes perspective.
We talked about when you were gone. In your gut, do you believe there's a chance he falls, Michkov?
Yeah, I mean, listening to it, and it's not me. Like, I'm not going on my gut because what the hell do I know?
What do you know?
I'm talking to the people who are talking to the scouts and talking to the
Yes.
executives. We had Corey Proman on the show. A lot of it depends on how it plays out. Well, it pretty much played out according to script. So, is there a chance Michkov falls? Yeah, absolutely. There's a chance he falls. How far is the question?
Yeah.
Do you at 6 say?
Do you waste it at 6, or do you think maybe let's see if he makes it to 12?
Yeah, and that's or do you like at 12? Do you say, okay, he's fallen 2 more spots. Now we move up and get him at 9 by using some of those assets we had
in the third round.
I don't know. It all fascinates me because
also,
that's the player that I think
changes this draft.
Yeah, he is the greatest wild card in this draft because he is a generational player. He is a generational player, and yet there's all these questions.
All
about
things
him.
being equal, there's no question he goes top 3, right?
Yeah. If you didn't have the war in Russia, and let's say he was signed for 1 year less, or the war in Ukraine, I shouldn't say the war.
Would there
in
be
Russia.
an argument for him at 2?
Yes, there are a lot of people who think he's the second best player in the draft.
Corey Proman has him in the same tier as Adam Fantilli.
Okay, so and there you go, and that just kind of shows me that a team that's willing to wait for him would be potentially the Arizona Coyotes, especially because they have so many other picks. If you're a team that has 1 pick in the first round, are you willing to take that gamble? Coyotes have 2.
No, but do you do it at 6? Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe you do. Maybe you do because you're too afraid he's going to fall. And if you walk away from this draft with Matvei Michkov,
it's a win.
And another player,
it's a win.
It didn't matter at that point that you didn't tank because you got one of the 3 best players in the draft.
Exactly. Potentially 2. Yeah. And the number 1 player from last year's draft.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can still happen. We're obviously going to unpack and digest all of this over the course of the next 51 days. There's also, players the Coyotes can trade at the draft. We talked about Nick Schmaltz. All of that we'll come back to. And I know there's... I don't know. We'll talk about it.
You just called him a cornerstone, but...
We'll talk about it at least.
Sure.
And I know there's more we want to say about Chicago. I think we should save that for tomorrow.
Gross.
So anything else today? Just like final. I don't want to get on to any more like.
Nope, no more rants.
Rants
it's
or anything.
Okay. Deep breath. We got 2 picks in the top 12. Let's move forward. We've got some good Gunner, Geeky, JJ Velimaki, Cooley, Michelli. There's a lot of young talent in the stables already. There's how many picks 7 picks in
Clayton
these?
Keller's still young.
6 or 7 picks in the first 3 rounds this year. Things are fine, and the future is still bright, and the vote's a week away.
The vote is a week away. And that's the note we should leave people on. You probably got other things to do, so you drive the bus.
No, we're good. You can tell people. So the vote, and I said this when you were gone too, Craig. Okay. I would rather have what happened today happen and the vote go through next week. If we had to choose a victory, I'm choosing May 16th. And if you are a Tempe resident, tomorrow, May 9th, Tuesday, May 9th, is the last day you can mail in your ballots. If you're sitting here watching right now, it's still sitting on your counter, and you're thinking, oh, shoot, you better pick it up right now and fill it out and mail it in because tomorrow's the last day to mail it. So if it's after May 9th, you can still drop it off at a polling place. I'll let Craig tell you how to do that.
In a secure Maricopa County drop box. Find one at locations.maricopa.vote. So here's how you can drop it off if you do not mail in your ballot tomorrow, which is, again, as Leah said, the deadline. Before 7 p.m. on Election Day, go in person to an official vote center. From May 8th to May 16th, there will be one at the Tempe History Museum. You can look. I won't throw the address at you. Those hours are 8 to 5. On Election Day, it's open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Through Election Day, on weekdays between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m., you can also drop off your completed ballot at Tempe City Hall. So just again, we've said this over and over and over again. Hopefully at this point, you are informed. You have informed yourself. You have gone to the Tempe website and read all about this deal. You may have listened to one side or the other, but hopefully you feel like you're informed. That's what we're asking more than anything. Be informed with this decision. And then by all means, if you haven't already, get out and vote. Participate in the democratic process.
All right. I love it.
Good.
And just to wrap up on the draft note, I will leave you with this. The Coyotes have 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, 4 third-round picks, a fourth, 2 fifths, and 2 sixths in 2023. So there's a lot to look forward to. I think I'm going to go back and watch everything Bill Armstrong had to say again, just because, like many people in the chat said, he talked them off the ledge. And obviously we'll continue to unpack this over the next few weeks here, continue to talk to draft experts. Now that we know this is going to be better, can I tell them about later this week? Who's coming on?
Yes.
We have the USNDTP.
NTDP.
I always mess
That's
it
right.
up.
B2.
Head coach coming on the show.
Dan
this
Muse will be on the show.
Thursday.
There are a number of players that played for the developmental team that are rated very highly in this draft. I think there's as many as 5 that could go in the first round of the NHL draft the way it plays out. The Coyotes obviously have a couple picks. We know now, 6 and 12. So those players could come into play. Maybe not Will Smith at this point. Maybe Will Smith. Who knows how it shakes out. So we're going to have Dan Muse on to talk about those players and also just the growth of USA Hockey, how much this program has meant for the growth of USA Hockey. Looking forward to that conversation.
Yep. So lots to talk about. We hope you stick around. And everybody who was here, there's no other way I would have wanted to do this. This was pack therapy at its core. So everybody in our live YouTube chat, thank you. Everybody who's watching or listening later, thank you. Like this video on YouTube, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review. We sincerely appreciate you. And be sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. We're live pretty much Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. every single day. And we will talk draft. We'll talk playoffs.
We got free agency. We got all kinds of stuff coming up.
There's so much to talk about. So we hope you will join us. And in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at @SPetersHockey, at Leah Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan, at Sean_DePaz. You can follow the show at PHNX_Coyotes. I think we should just all take a deep breath in.
Deep breath. I agree. And if you're finding us for the first time, this is the best place to find Coyotes information.
Absolutely. So everybody enjoy the rest of your night. Sleep on it. We'll all wake up positive tomorrow. But until then, have a great rest of your day, everyone. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.